Factorization rule mining, we had talked about generating the frequent item sets. So that was the first part of a priori algorithm. Now we will be talking about how to generate the rules from the frequent item sets that you have already generated. So if you remember, the generation of rules was depending on the a priori principle, and we also found that if rules are originating from the same item set, they may have same support, they will have same support, but they can have different confidence. Then we decoupled the support and confidence requirements, and we talked about the a priori principle, in which we said that if an item set is frequent, then its subsets will also be frequent. So that means if ABD is frequent, then AB will be frequent, AD will be frequent, AE will be frequent. But if an item set is infrequent, then its subsets will also be infrequent. So if its supersets will also be infrequent. So if we found that AB is infrequent, then all its supersets will be infrequent, and we can prune out the lattice. Then we talked about reducing the item set using support-based pruning, and we trimmed the exponential search space based on the anti-monotone property, which was that the support of an item set will never exceed the support of its subsets. So ABD's support will never be greater than support of AB or DE. Then we studied the algorithm, a priori algorithm to generate the frequent item sets. We started from one item set and all those that satisfy the min support criteria, we put them in the frequent item set. Then we generated, for the next level, we generated the candidates from the previous frequent item set, and that those all those candidates that satisfied your support min support criteria, you added them to the frequent item set for the next level, and you did this till you stopped finding the frequent item sets, and then for all the frequent item sets you combine them into a final result set. So now our goal is to find the rules from this final result set. To further to avoid duplicate candidates or redundant candidates, you use two measures by extending the frequent item sets in a priori gen with fk minus 1 cross f1 and fk minus 1 cross fk minus 1 ways. So this is what we had done so far. Then after that we counted the support by building a tree and putting them in buckets based on from which item set they were going to start, and we only visited the transactions where the item sets followed a particular order, so that we don't have to repeat the support count again and again. Then we also use the hash function to increase the support count size and keep a track of the frequent item sets. Now, when you have your rule set in place, how do you extract rules from a frequent item set? Suppose you have a k item set, so number of possible rules will be 2 raised to power of k. One to the left, one to the right, and then combination of some on the left and combination of some items on the left, right? So 2 raised to k minus 2, because you are going to exclude rules like empty set is an antecedent and a set y is a consequent, and you are going to is a and when empty set is a consequent, so you these two rules you will not count. There has to be something as an antecedent as well as the consequent. Now when you are extracting rules, the procedure is to partition each k item set, frequent item set, which is a k item set, into two non-empty subsets. So you will have x, and on the right side you can have anything which does not have x. So, and if this rule satisfies the confidence threshold, then it is an important rule for you. And they will obviously satisfy the min support criteria, because that's how you generated the frequent item set. So if you have 1, 2, 3, which is a 3 item set, the possible rules could be these. These all are your candidate rules. For each of these candidate rules, you are going to compute the confidence measure. And if so, basically we have established that this is a frequent item set already in the previous phase. Now in the next phase, you will find all possible rules except with those with empty sets, and for each rule you are going to compute the confidence. And because the support of all will be same, because they all contain 1, 2, 3, so you have to just measure the confidence and keep the ones which have the high confidence. You don't need to do additional dataset scans, because uh, support count was already found. And if we remember talking about the confidence, it was uh, support for x union y divided by support count of x. That was confidence. Support of x union y, support count of x union y divided by support of x. So if you remember that confidence did not have anti-monotone property, that is, it was not necessary that if a subset has some support, the support of the superset will always be less than that of subset. That is not applicable to confidence. For a superset, the confidence can be greater, equal, or less than its subset. I hope you remember this. If you have a question, you can ask me. Okay, so how do you prune the rules based on confidence? So if you have a rule x goes to y minus x, and this particular rule does not satisfy minimum confidence, then any rule x dash goes to y minus x dash will also not satisfy the minimum confidence, given x dash is a subset of x. Let's see how this is possible. Let's assume there is a rule x dash goes to y minus x dash and x goes to y minus x. Now confidence of R1 is support count of y. I think this should have been y union x divide of x dash divided by sigma x, support count of x dash. This should also be, let me write this. This should be, do I have something to write here? Yeah, so this should be sigma x dash union y divided by support count of x dash, and this should be support count of x union y divided by support count of x. Now if you see that support count of x dash will always be greater than support count of x. That is the anti-monotone property we had talked about. So this sigma x dash is always greater than equal to support count of x. So because this is a greater quantity, the confidence of R1 will be less than confidence of R2. So the rule is saying that if there is a rule which is not satisfying the minimum confidence, then a rule with the subset will also not satisfy the minimum confidence, and we have already seen the proof. You might expect this kind of a question in the exam. Is this clear? That is the only thing that we have to learn today. So if this is clear, let me know so that I can proceed. Okay. So now once you know this principle on how to generate the rules in the a priori principle, you will do again a level wise traversal, and the level is dependent on the whatever the sets are available on the consequent side. Okay, somebody is typing in the chat box. Okay. Okay, thanks. So at each level, generate all high confidence rules first with one item in consequence. Then use these rules to generate new candidate rules by merging the consequent rules. So initially you start with one, then you merge the consequence. So suppose you have something like this. Suppose you have 1 goes to 2. Suppose this is also frequent and this also has high confidence. You have generated some rules of this side. So maybe something of this sort is also generated. Let's assume. So now you have one item set in the consequent. So after this, you can generate new candidates by merging the two candidates on the right. So you can do 1 goes to 2, 3. So this is another rule. This is another rule. So you are just merging the consequent side. And when you are merging the consequent side, so probably you could also do something like this. And so you cannot merge with 3 because 3 is already on the right. When you are doing this, 1 goes to 2, 3. So can you generate this rule? Can anyone tell me, is this rule possible? 1, 2 goes to 2, 3. Is this rule possible? Can I have... Yes?
I don't think so, ma'am.
Why?
1, 2 क्योंकि 1 से 2 possible है.
No, 1, 2 goes to 2, 3. My question is this.
Three.
How many of you say that this rule is okay, we can generate this rule, and how many of you say we cannot generate this rule? You have to give a reason also. Can you be a bit louder? Sorry, I missed it. इसका सिर्फ yes और no आंसर है, या तो पॉसिबल है रूल या पॉसिबल नहीं है.
समझ नहीं आ रहा क्या. हाँ भी लग रहा है, नहीं भी.
हाँ, अगर एसोसिएशन रिवाइज करे हैं तो बहुत ऑब्वियस आंसर है, मतलब इतना सोचना नहीं है इसमें.
क्योंकि 2, 1, 2 से 3 पे हमारे पास रूल है और 2 इसका सबसेट है 1, 2 का, तो पॉसिबल हो सकता है.
नहीं पॉसिबल है चिराग, क्योंकि हमारी फर्स्ट कंडीशन है रूल्स भेजने की कि जो x और y है दे शुड बी डिसजॉइंट, दे आर नॉट डिसजॉइंट. 2 रिपीट हो रहा है. So because 2 is on the antecedent as well as on the consequent, this rule is not possible. So then in this scenario you have to remove 2 from here. So this is one rule that, so this is basically the same rule. Okay. So you have to be careful about this. So anyways, you will go on merging rules and you will ensure that they are disjoint, and you will keep on doing it till the last level. For example, they have given an example of ACD go to BC to B and ABD goes to C. So what they did is they combined the consequence BC, but because B, ABD and ACD were coming on the left side and B and C are coming on the right side, so they eliminated B from here and they eliminated C from here because they have to be disjoint. And if there is a node that has low confidence, then we can prune the entire subgraph because of this theorem. अगर एक नोड का किसी सबसेट का कॉन्फिडेंस लो है तो उसके सुपरसेट्स का भी कॉन्फिडेंस लो होगा. You can prune that entire subgraph. So how do you generate the rules? The algorithm says that for each frequent item set for k greater than equal to 2, first generate the first consequence of the rule. For one item consequence of the rule, and then from one item consequence of the rule, generate the rules for further levels. Now you compute the size of k frequent item set and what is the size of the consequent. So basically the frequent item set from which you generated the rule could be something like this: 1, 2, 3. So this is the frequent item set. So now a lot of rules are possible. 1 goes to 2, 1 goes to 3, and 1 goes to 2, 3. This is possible. Then you have 2 goes to 1, 2 goes to 3, and 2 goes to 1, 3, so on and so forth. So you have to first compute the size of frequent item set. In this case, it is 3. And you have to find, because you have passed on the first one item consequent rule, so then you have to find the size of the rule consequent. In this case it is 1, so you can have 1 on the left side or 2 on the left side, but 1 on the right side. So if the size of item set is greater than m plus 1, then you can generate further rules, and by calling this procedure again and at the by increasing the size of the consequent, and whatever is there in the consequent, you just compute its confidence. If it satisfies the confidence, then that is a rule that you would want to consider. Otherwise you delete that rule and go on doing for other levels. Is this algorithm clear? Is this algorithm clear? Okay, so I am done with this topic, and association rule mining is finished from my end. So if you have questions, you can ask me. Otherwise, we can have an assignment on next Thursday on association rule mining. I'm not taking the Viva as of now because I'm busy in the first year's internal assessment. That I can plan later. I am done with this topic, association rule mining. So let's plan for an assignment on Thursday between 1 to 3. And I will start with the clustering next week. So if you have questions, you can ask me.
I'm practicals related.
Please tell me again.
ट्रेन कंट्रोल का क्वेश्चन मैम, वो जो ट्रेन कंट्रोल फंक्शन है मैम, उसमें केएनएन यूज करते हुए के की वैल्यू कैसे डिफाइन करूं मैं?
देखो जनरली ना हम क्या करते हैं, केएनएन में ना एक्सपेरिमेंटेशन से चलता है. जो nearest neighbors होते हैं, so we have to try a lot of different values. You know, you could start from 3, 4, 5. You could even go to up to 20, 25. So the heuristics is जो इंडस्ट्री में यूज होता है. एक मिनट, लेट मी ड्रॉ समथिंग फॉर यू. So this you won't find in your books generally, but this is what I've read a lot of at a lot of places. So suppose these are your, this is k, okay, and this is your error. So if you choose a very small value of k, the error will be very high. Then you start, so maybe you know 0, and then you have 1, and so on, let's say 50. It depends obviously on the data set also. So what you have to do is you start experimenting. So what happens is that, you know, it will start to decrease, the error will start to decrease, and then again it will start to increase. So obviously this graph will be different for different data sets. For some it could be something like this. For some it could be something like this. Something like this. So it will be different for different data sets, but what should be your way of selection is that if you attempt at different for different case, then where there is this elbow, you know, there is, after it drops, you know, it gradually drops, and then again it starts to increase. So there is an elbow being formed. This is known as elbow method. So where you are seeing this kind of a situation, that should be an ideal value of k. That is what people in the industry choose. So this is basically a hit and trial method, but in industry this is how it is chosen. So I suggest that, you know, you pass on different values of k and find out the error from your test set, you know, to just run it and see that, you know, what are the predictions. If the predictions are way too or way off, then you try a higher value of k. Go on trying the higher value of k and plot the graph between k and error. Once you plot a graph between k and error, you will get this kind of a graph. So the ideal value of k should be where you are noticing a change like this. You know, it drops and then it starts to increase again. So an elbow is formed. That should be an ideal value of k. So I will not be able to tell you that, you know, it should be 5 or 6, or it should be 21, 22, or it should be 50. But normally, the other heuristic is, I think they take the value of root n, where n is the size of the data set. That is also one heuristic that people say. You know, the so k is equal to approximately equals to under root of n. That is one thing that these people say. So just look at the size of the data set and pick this k. So that is one easier method. But in industry, you will find people doing this. Okay.
मैम वो तो ठीक है मैम, बट जो ग्राफ आ रहा है वो इस टाइप का तो आ ही नहीं रहा है, ये तो पूछना चाह रहा हूँ. साइनसोइडल ग्राफ आ रहा है, ट्रेन कंट्रोल यूज किया ना मैम.
आपने एरर और के को प्लॉट किया है?
नहीं मैम, उसमें शायद वो एक्यूरेसी वो डालता है, आरओसी.
हाँ, आरओसी की बात नहीं कर रही मैं, सिर्फ एरर की बात कर रही हूँ. कितने गलत गलत प्रेडिक्शंस हुए. ऑब्वियसली जो अलग 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 मैट्रिक्स प्लॉट करोगे तो डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ ग्राफ आएगा ना. मैं एरर की बात कर रही हूँ that how many wrong predictions were there. So if you had a, you know, data, you whatever you passed, you had 100, and out of 100 90 were predicted wrong. So that is a 90% error, and then it stopped growing, and, you know, it predicted only 10 wrong. So that is a 10% error. That I was, so this graph is related to, so the metric that you're using, obviously the graph will differ. So here my metric was only to predict the wrong prediction. Okay, if you are not able to get this, you can use this also. You can use this.
Yes. मैं ये बोल रहा था, ट्रेन कंट्रोल में हमें कोई पर्टिकुलर के की वैल्यू प्रोवाइड करनी होती है, क्योंकि उसमें कोई ऐसा ऑप्शन नहीं आता उसमें, डायरेक्ट वो फीचर लेता है KNN और उसमें वैल्यू नहीं लेता है समहाउ के की। तो डालना कुछ कंपलसरी तो नहीं है ना?
यार मुझे एक बार ट्रेन कंट्रोल का वो दिखाओ।
मैम लैपटॉप चला
कंट्रोल
रहा
नहीं नहीं, सिर्फ यहाँ पे टाइप कर दो ना, सिंटैक्स टाइप कर दो।
मैम।
दिस इज फॉर ट्रेन कंट्रोल। हम ट्रेन एंड टेस्ट स्प्लिट करने के लिए यूज कर रहे हैं क्या? What it is doing?
यस मैम, स्प्लिटिंग के लिए यूज कर रहे हैं।
अच्छा,
इसमें 3 है ना मैम, होल्ड आउट, सैम्पलिंग और ट्रेन कंट्रोल।
ओके ओके ओके। तो ट्रेन कंट्रोल में तुम्हें के की वैल्यू क्यों चाहिए, नेबर की वैल्यू क्यों चाहिए?
डालनी पड़ेगी ना हमें स्पेसिफिक, इतना नहीं बता, ये डालना है नहीं, मैं यही तो पूछना चाह रहा हूँ मैम।
नहीं, इसमें थोड़ी डालोगे, इसमें स्प्लिट कर दोगे। ये तो सिर्फ स्प्लिटिंग के लिए यूज करोगे, फिर KNN फंक्शन कॉल करोगे जहां पे नेबर्स की वैल्यू डालोगे, यहाँ थोड़ी क्यों डालोगे। यहाँ तो ये तो दिस इज ओनली, दिस ट्रेन कंट्रोल मेथड इज टू हेल्प यू स्प्लिट द डेटा सेट इनटू 2 पार्ट्स।
मैम ट्रेन यूज नहीं करना, ट्रेन
कोई भी यूज कर देखो, इसमें आई एम नॉट आई एम नॉट फिक्स्ड कि आपको ट्रेन कंट्रोल यूज करना है या ट्रेन यूज करना है। वट एवर वर्क फॉर यू, यू एक्सपेरिमेंट विद दैट। ऐसा कोई हार्ड एंड फास्ट रूल नहीं है कि यही फंक्शन यूज करना है। आई हैव गिवन यू ऑप्शंस, यू यूज दैट। बट एज बिकॉज द क्वेश्चन सेज कि आपको होल्ड आउट और रैंडम सब सैम्पलिंग यूज करनी है, अगर कोई और मेथड भी यूज, अगर कोई और मेथड आपको सेम टास्क अचीव करके दे रहा है, यू कैन यूज दैट। आई हैव एब्सोल्युटली नो इश्यूज।
ठीक है मैम। नहीं मैम, जो मैं मतलब यूज कर रहा था ना ट्रेन फंक्शन करके, तो उसमें जैसे हम जैसे आपने बोला था डिफरेंट के नेबर्स की वैल्यूज डाल के एक्सपेरिमेंट करना, तो
हाँ।
वो फंक्शन वो ना लेके वो ऐसे ट्यून लेंथ लेता है। ट्यून लेंथ इन द सेंस कि वो डिफरेंट वैल्यूज ले लेगा। 20 दे दी मैंने, वो कोई भी 20 डिफरेंट वैल्यूज उठा के।
ओके, देखो मेरे को जो समझ आ रहा है ना, आप दो चीजें शायद मिक्स कर रहे हो, जितना मुझे समझ आ रहा है। देखो एक सेकेंड, मेरे को आपका कोड देखना पड़ेगा पहले तो ये डिसाइड करने के लिए कि आप क्या कर रहे हो। बट स्टिल, कहाँ गया KNN का फंक्शन, कहाँ चला गया?
और मैम एक चीज और, प्री प्रोसेस और स्केल में मैम डिफरेंस थोड़ी है।
नहीं है,
अगर मैं
नहीं है, दैट इज अनदर मेथड ऑफ डूइंग इट। देखो यहाँ पे जब आप मेथड्स पास कर रहे हो ना, इफ यू सी KNN, देन KNN में आपने नेबर स्पेसिफाई करने हैं। मेरे को तो नेबर स्पेसिफाई करने का रेलेवेंस ड्यूरिंग स्प्लिटिंग मुझे तो नहीं समझ आ रहा। मतलब मुझे या तो कोड दिखाओ कि क्या बोल रहे हो, क्योंकि आपको के जो नियरेस्ट नेबर्स हैं वो तो सिर्फ इसी फंक्शन को पास करने हैं।
मैम ये तो ठीक है, ये तो हो गया KNN वाला। एक है मैम ट्रेन करके फंक्शन।
ओके, हाँ इसमें क्या है? बोलो,
मैम इस,
ट्यून लेंथ कह रहे हो ये?
हाँ मैम इससे कर रहा हूँ मैं।
अच्छा,
कोई दिक्कत तो नहीं है मैम इसमें
नहीं
मैम
बेटे,
इसमें ना ऐसा होता है मैम, पर इसमें आप वैल्यू नहीं डालते पर्टिकुलर कि आपने कोई भी वैल्यू डाल दी जैसे KNN की, ये वो नहीं लेता, ट्यून लाइन ले दी इसने।
हम्म,
तो आपने अगर 10 दी तो ये कोई भी 10 रैंडम वैल्यूज लेके उससे
हाँ
एक्सपेरिमेंट करेगा और आपको ग्राफ शो कर देगा क्या एक्यूरेसी इसका।
हाँ, तो देखो ना, बेसिकली आप ये बोल रहे हो कि आपने बेसिकली, ये तो एक हाइपर पैरामीटर है ना, कि आपने उस पर्टिकुलर क्लासिफायर को दोबारा उसको ठीक तरीके से फिट करने की कोशिश करी एंड आपने ट्यूनिंग पैरामीटर वेरी कर दिया। तो ट्यूनिंग पैरामीटर वेरी कर करके देख लो, जो बेटर रिजल्ट दे रहा है वो आपका मॉडल है। हाँ, वो ठीक है, आप यूज कर सकते हो, बट बस इतना है कि अगर वाइवा पर्सपेक्टिव से आपको फिर एक्सप्लेन करना पड़ेगा कि ये मेथड क्या है, ट्यून लेंथ क्या चीज होती है, और आपने एक्सपेरिमेंट करके कैसे प्रिडिक्ट किया। तो this is only for your experimentation. Whatever works for your data set, it's fine if you use it, not a problem.
ठीक है।
Okay. Any more questions? Any more questions, class? I am done with this topic. If you want to ask more questions, you can stay. Otherwise, you can leave the meeting. On next Wednesday, so tomorrow is Thursday, right? Okay, tomorrow I will start with clustering, and next Wednesday we will continue with this. On next Thursday, I will give you an assignment on association rule mining. Okay, Ashwin, please announce it in the class also. Okay, so if you want to leave, you can leave. Have a good day, everyone.